Yo, what's going on? Crazy weekend. Talked about a couple fights in my last prediction video, and damn, man, crazy night. A lot of fireworks. Well, crazy weekend, excuse me. Let's go ahead and talk about these fights here, man. First and foremost, Oleksandrusyk. If you didn't believe it before, this man is officially an all-time great. That performance he had against Daniel Dubois in the UK, in Wembley Stadium, in front of all those Brits, all those British boxing fans. Not only did he go out there and beat Daniel Dubois in their rematch and get his IBF belt back that he got taken away from him so he could go fight Fury in the rematch. Not only did he do that, he stopped Daniel Dubois in dominating fashion. Dubois didn't have an answer from round 1 until round 5 when he got stopped in the second knockdown in a vicious KO. And for those that didn't follow the lead up to the fight, Daniel Dubois was getting his second chance to get redemption after getting stopped by Oleksandrusyk in the first fight. He landed a body shot that was controversial. Some say it was high, some say it was low, right on the border. And it seemed to affect Usyk, and he might not have made the 10 count if they had actually called it a knockdown. But he was able to get up, and then it was back to beating the brakes off of Dubois. And Dubois, he looked like he learned a lot from that first fight. He looked like he was confident coming into this second fight. But it was very interesting seeing him in the lead up. He's typically quiet, to himself, focused, laser focused, just going in there to put hands on people and going home to eat food. That's what I remember of him. But going into this fight, he seemed very outspoken, very braggadocious, very he was looking to incite some type of emotion, evoke some type of emotion out of Usyk. Like, yo, he's an old man, he's 38. I said, gray hairs, I'm going to knock this old man out and get my era started. Okay. Usyk just looked at him like, all right. And they got into that ring. And the things that I said in my prediction video showed up on film. He got in there, his feet, not fast enough. The hand speed, not fast enough. Head movement, not there. He got the power, and me and others, including Tim Bradley in the first fight, said if you want to beat Usyk, your best chance is to go to the body, because those Eastern Bloc fighters do not like the body work. Lomachenko's there to get hit to the body regardless of how great he is. The same thing with Usyk. He was there to get hit to the body. He wasn't able to get home, man. And he was tagging up Dubois from pillar to post from round 1 to round 5. Highly impressive. So now, I mean, you look at Oleksandrusyk. You made a guy stop 2 times, because after that second knockdown, Daniel Dubois didn't get up for the 10 count, and as soon as the fight was over, walked straight back to his corner. And then after that, just walked out the ring kind of in disbelief. He had a look of disbelief on his face as he walked out the arena. Later on, he gave Usyk his props and said, yo, congratulations for the win. You know, you earned it. But case in point, man, Dubois is not a bad fighter. He's a young, talented heavyweight. I mean, he just came riding high off of that win over Anthony Joshua. He was riding high off that win, and he had a lot of confidence. But Usyk is different. He's not Joshua. He's one of them ones, man. So, I mean, you're talking about an all-time great. You became undisputed at cruiserweight. You went up to heavyweight when people doubted if you were going to be able to take a punch. You went up there, fought Derek Chisora. Took a few big shots and showed, yeah, I can handle this, and stopped Derek Chisora. Then you eventually got to Tyson Fury. Beat Tyson Fury, not 1 time, but 2 times. And in that rematch, Tyson Fury, same thing. Thought he was going to be able to do some different things and get a different outcome. Did not happen. And Usyk was on him from the beginning. And then you go have 2 fights with Daniel Dubois. The first fight, you beat him. You were clearly the better fighter. And then the second fight, you go ahead and drop your belt. Like, you know what? I want to get this rematch with Fury. Let him run it back. And I don't care if my IBF belt goes to Dubois. I'll go ahead and get that after I take Fury out. And what did he do? Exactly that. He went, beat Tyson Fury in convincing fashion, and then said, "Oh, Dubois, you got the belt? Okay, let's run it back. You can go ahead and get your lick back. I'm not going to let it happen, but let's do this." And he went out there, and this fight wasn't even competitive. The first fight was competitive, not this one. So, I mean, what Usyk has been able to do on this run is nothing short of historic. He might be not just one of the best heavyweights of our era, but one of the best boxers of this era, the past 25 years. So, congrats and kudos to Oleksandr Usyk. Wish him the best of luck in whatever he wants to do moving forward, whether that's fighting a few more times or whether that's just going off and doing things he wants to do, who knows, but, kudos to him. With that being said, let me know what you thought about that fight. Did you see that knockout coming? Who you picked to win that fight? And leave it in the comments below. Next, I want to move over to another fight. And this whole card was lit. But let's go ahead and look at the fight between Tszyu, the son of Costa Tszyu, and Sebastianfundora, the towering Inferno. They're having their rematch as well. And that fight was, listen, that fight, the first fight was crazy. Blood, guts, gore, broken nose for Fundora, split open gash on top of Tszyu's head. The first fight was a damn war. So this second fight, you had Tszyu coming back to try to reestablish himself. Now, I hadn't followed him as closely as I should have, but I did somewhat vaguely remember he had the loss to, can't remember the guy's name, but he had a tough loss leading into this fight. So there were questions about if he was the same fighter. Regardless, he was a betting favorite going into this fight by Vegas. And I thought he was going to win this fight because I did not foresee Sebastianfundora making the adjustments to his fighting style that he did. What I'm used to with Fundora, being 6'5", 6'6", fighting at 154, he fights like a short fighter. For somebody that has a pterodactyl wingspan, for some reason or another, he always seemed hell-bent on fighting on the inside with these short punches and just negating his reach and height advantage. This time out, he stood up tall, but not too tall, and used his reach and his range, was never off balance with his punches, and he was just throwing punches nice and short and crisp and turning the knuckles over. And Tszyu could not find a way to get out of the path of that jab, man. And Fundora was able to get a good momentum early on. And later, maybe around the third or the fourth round, Tszyu was able to find a home for some of those big shots. And it started to look like the fight was going to start getting interesting. But I guess it was round 7 when the stoppage happened. Tszyu, though he was taking some shots, he was landing some big shots on Fundora. And at the end of that round, it looked like he was a little bit out on his feet and disoriented. But I think me and my buddy watching the fight with me and many other behind the TV were thinking, okay, Tszyu might have found something, found his range, found a little bit of confidence, got a little bit of momentum, and now we're going to turn up in round 8 going forward. Nope. Stopped on his stool and said, I don't want to come out for the next round. I didn't expect that. I know a lot of people didn't expect that. And that is a huge turning point, not just for Tszyu, but for Sebastianfundora. Now Fundora showed, you know what, I'm starting to figure out how to use my range and my reach. And he said that in the post-fight interview. I think that he's on to something, and the Tszyu fights really taught him something about how to become a more refined and polished boxer who's going to use his height and his reach. And now we might see something with Fundora, to the point that if he fights like this and keeps improving upon this style that he has, he can run the 154-pound division, and then possibly the 160-pound division when he inevitably moves up, because he's very skinny at this weight, but he's still dominant. So I mean, he has a bright future ahead of him, in my opinion. But Tszyu, tough fight. The first fight against Fundora in the loss, a tough loss in the fight following after, and then a really tough stoppage where you quit on the stool. That's unfortunately something that he's going to have to process for quite some time moving forward. And we're going to have to see if he has the mindset to bounce back, like a Mannypacquiao, who had a worse situation with the knockout with Marquez, and then came back and made quite a run, starting with the Timothy Bradley trilogy. Or is he going to end up being another fighter that gets gun shy? Because, you know, unrelated, it looks like Devin Haney is trending in the same way. After that loss to Ryan Garcia, he was very gun shy in his return fight in New York City in Times Square on the undercard for Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia. He was very, very gun shy. Is he going to turn it around? Because Brian Norman, he's not playing no games. He's not playing no games. You're not going to be able to be on your bicycle and move around for all 12 rounds without bringing some serious firepower to make this dude respect you. So are you going to bring that firepower, or are you going to get clipped and get gun shy? Same thing with Tszyu. Now you have another stoppage loss. Are you going to be gun shy to the point that you're going to move into gatekeeper status? Or are you going to find a way to recenter yourself and regain your confidence and come back and get a good win against a quality opponent? We're going to see. Let me know what you think of the fight, and what do you think is the career trajectory for each of these guys moving forward. Fundora and Tszyu. Sideways, up, or down? Let me know in the comments. And then the last fight, last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend, the senator, Mannypacquiao, having his return fight after 4 years off versus one of the current champions at 147, Mario Barrios. All of us were skeptical going into this fight. We know it's Mannypacquiao. We know what he can do. But we also remember what we saw not just in his last fight, the exhibition fight, where he looked horrible and he didn't come in shape. But we also remember the Ugas fight. And I went back and watched the Ugas fight, and I was looking at it, and now seeing it in hindsight a second time, he looked pretty good. His issue was stamina. As soon as he started getting tired in the second half of that fight, you started to see the foot movement lessen, which was followed by less head movement. And then you started seeing him get hit with shots by Ugas that we never seen him get hit with when he was 36, 30, 27. Even when he was fighting Keith Thurman, he wasn't getting hit with those type of shots. So I didn't know what to expect coming into this fight. But I saw him at the weigh-in, and that dude looked as close as he did in the Thurman fight as I've seen in 6 years. I mean, he looked cut, he looked ripped, he looked like he was on fire in the training footage. So the physical was there. The only question was the timing. Not just because he was out the ring for so long, but just with age, one of the first things to go is the timing. Not even necessarily the speed. Power's last to go. Speed's probably second to last to go, but the timing. You could be fast as you want to, but if you can't time your punches and time the punches that are coming at you, it's going to be maybe a short night for you. So he came out those first couple rounds against Mario Barrios. The timing was not there. He was trying to land counter punches, and his timing was way off. But Mario Barrios, man, he looked like he didn't want to step on the gas. I don't know what it was. It seemed like he respected Manny too much before the fight and in the ring, to the point that his corner man, his trainer, had to tell him, yo, stop touching gloves with this dude, man. Like, just get in there and take his head off, man. Stop showing him so much respect. And by the time we got to the fourth round, I had it, I think, 3-1 for Manny after the fourth round. It looked like Manny started to find the range and the timing, and he took off. And by the time we got to the 10th round, I had Manny up 6-3. I thought that he did a hell of a job in the middle of the fight. Seemed like he found his distance, his timing, and he was starting in spots to do what he wanted to do. Even though he wasn't at his sharpest, he was still a level above Mario Barrios in certain points in the fight. It wasn't until round 9 or 10 that Barrios started to really pick it up, especially with his trainer yelling in his ear like, yo, pick it up. Stop giving this guy respect. And then what does he do? Immediately after, in the 11th or 12th round, goes out and touches gloves with him again. Like, yo, bro, I get it. He's a legend. You grew up watching him. You may be a fan, but you got to get in there and be a killer, man. And me personally, I don't know what y'all score was, but I thought it was a draw. I know, and trust me, in my heart of hearts, I wanted to give the win to Manny with all my heart and soul. But objectively, I had it scored a draw because I thought that Mario Barrios was able to take 2, if not more reasonably 3 out of the last 3 rounds. I thought that round 11 was a swing round. If you were going to give that round to Manny, then I could say it was 7-5 for Manny. But I thought that Manny could have done a little more in that round, and I scored it for Barrios. If you disagree, I certainly understand, and I wouldn't be mad. But as many have alluded to, the best I could have said was a draw for Barrios. I don't see any way you could say he won that fight. And if anything, Manny could make a strong case that Manny won by a round, and he earned that after coming out of retirement after being out for 4 years. So, either way, it was extremely impressive by Manny. It wasn't the greatest fight by any means. Like, I'm not saying that. But the performance under these circumstances, when you take those into consideration, phenomenal, man. We haven't seen a 46-year-old come back against a champion, regardless of skill level, and be able to do it with the style that he does. Constant motion, perpetual motion, in and out movement, moving in and out of the danger zone, and being able to do so without getting clipped and knocked out, man, and being effective with it, man. So, I mean, that's just so damn impressive, man. And me personally, I don't want to see him fight after this. If you're going to fight somebody on a Barrios level, okay, maybe, but like, we don't need to see him fight a Boots Ennis if Boots going to come back down to 147, or any of the other guys at 147. But, Manny, he's earned the right to do what he want to do at this point. But it was certainly a historic night for me, regardless of the outcome. I wish they would have given him the win. In that circumstance, like, I scored it a draw, but I thought Manny did enough to earn the win if you gave him a swing round or two. For him to come out of retirement and have that type of performance, really hard not to give him the nod considering what he was able to do in that fight. But let me know what you guys think. And, yeah, man, hell of a weekend, man. A lot of fireworks. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and be blessed. Catch y'all next time. Peace.